Hey, Kathie, Owen here, certified fitness trainer and mindset coach since 2002, teaching others how to transform their lives in what appears to be magic fashion using Stop the Mind Screw. Today, we're going to talk about false beliefs and how to rewrite them using Stop the Mind Screw. And today we're going to talk about the one false belief where you're perhaps in the corporate world and you think, oh my God, why do I have to do this? They did not tell me this was going to happen. We've all been there. You come across a time where you're like, I did not sign up for this. And first thing I'm going to do is share a story of mine when it happened to me just within the last year. I'm the corporate wellness director at OcuSoft, and I have been for 8 years. OcuSoft has a gym for their employees, and I run that gym. I train probably 8 to 10 people a day, which is freaking awesome. It is so much fun. I love my job. Absolutely love my job. However, when COVID hit, not so much. I didn't sign up for that. Not only that, but the gym has flooded 3 times. I've been with the company for 8 years, and I've been out of the gym probably more than I'm in the gym. So how did I handle that? March of 2020, OcuSoft calls a team meeting over the pandemic. Mind you, I watch the news and I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm thinking there is no way this is going to be as bad as the news says it's going to be. So they call the meeting, and here's another thing. The gym had flooded in May of 2019, and I had been out of the gym because they raised the building up off the ground 3 foot. A whole nother story in itself. But I had been out of the gym and a makeshift gym in a room in the building. I had just gotten back into the gym in March of 2020. So that was almost a full year I was out of the gym again. And I was like, there's no way it's going to be as bad as they're saying. And that was the last team meeting we had since today. And today is June of 2021. Granted, we're getting back to normal. I see a team meeting in the future, but that was the last one. And we began working from home, myself included. Now, my team, I work in the operations team, and they were all working in the building. We have a printer, a person who runs our print shop. We have a receptionist that works the front desk. And both of them were working in the building doing maintenance. And that meant cleaning everything. This place was spotless. You could see in my last video, it was spotless. And not only were they cleaning, but they were wearing, gloves and helmets and masks. Yeah, I wasn't about all that. I was working at home, training a few people during the day and working on some projects that I had going on. Granted, I was taking a lot of PTO because I wasn't working a full day and it was getting kind of stressful. So my boss calls me, and I guess it was about May. And she said, Kathie, gotta get back in the office. We're doing split shifts and we need your help. I was like, oh God, here we go. What am I gonna have to do? There I go. They owe me. I didn't sign up for this. I go back into work, trying my best to keep a great attitude. And I did temperature screenings for about 6 weeks. And that was fine. I could still do some of my computer work, all of that. However, come June of 2020, my son got COVID and I was exposed to him. And it was a big panic. I mean, I had to tell who I was in contact with. I had to, the protocol that was going on at the time because we were possibly exposed. Not only that, because I was doing temperature screenings, I exposed everybody in the whole building because I saw everybody all day long. I never got COVID. I tested negative and I went back to work, but this time in a different capacity. I was going to have to help in operations wherever they needed. And a part of me was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to wipe tables. And they were cleaning walls, they were cleaning the stairs. They were extremely safe. So I knew I had to follow these protocols. Here we go. I didn't sign up for this. I love my job. I love the company I work for. I knew I had to do something to change my mindset so that I would at least be happy during those hours I was in the office. And I knew I could find a way. And here's what I did. Enter, stop the mind screw process. And I'm going to go through the steps I followed to quickly change my mindset. Step number 1, what do you want? Had to sit down on a piece of paper and journal exactly what I wanted in detail. I knew what was going to be required of me, so I had to include that as well. And I did that. I wrote it all down. Boom, 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 boom. Everything was done. The next thing I had to do was ask myself, why am I here? I did a video on this last week. Why am I here? What are my priorities? Another thing that I would ask myself is, what are my core values? If you go to my website, on page 1, I have all 7, maybe 6 of my core values. 2 of them come to mind when I think about this. Number 1, and it's probably my most important core value, is a positive mindset. Number 2 was going the extra mile. I pulled both of those core values into what I wanted. By doing that, I focused on keeping a positive mindset. What do they want me to do? Do they want me to cut grass with scissors? Where are the scissors? I'm on it. Going the extra mile, same concept. What did I need to do? And I went to work every day with that attitude, even though there were little bumps in the road, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Responsibility is another one of my core values. A Course in Miracles tells us, I am responsible for what I see, and everything is as I think it should be. That's just a little simple thing that we came up with in A Course in Miracles that we say to ourselves about responsibility. You are responsible for everything that goes on in your world. I have a video I did on it. I'll put it right here or right here. I don't know where it goes, but it's going to be up there. Okay? And it's also going to be linked in the description below. Step number 2, go on a mental diet. One of my favorite topics to talk about because a mental diet totally transformed my life, and I've done several videos on it. I even have a free resource guide, link in the description below, all about a mental diet, because one thing's going to transform your life. It's going to be a mental diet. So what's a mental diet? Real quick, simple, but not easy. All it is you become aware of your negative thoughts and you don't dwell on them. You let them go. I had a lot of negative thoughts going on in my mind about my job, and I had to let them go. Or if they were really bad, I documented them, and we'll go over them in step 5. Step number 3 in Stop the Mind Screw process is, how are you talking to yourself? What is your self-talk? You talk to yourself more than you talk to anybody in the world. This is where your power lies, and I know that. So I started changing the way I was talking to myself, which then affected how I was communicating with others. So when you're on a team, and this happens in all the corporate world, I've worked in every department except for 2 at OcuSoft, and I have worked with all the team members and seen how they work together. I've been in corporate for many, many years. I used to work for an oil company. Oh my gosh. where there was drama. So let's go back to that oil company drama that I'm talking about, because this is something really important that I learned along my way. I was having trouble with one of the girls at work. She was being real bossy and mean and just downright ugly to me. And so I go to my boss, and I didn't complain about her, but I complained about my job. And I was like, I'm not happy. This is not right. He knew, he saw between the lines, Mike Walker. Love that man. He was so awesome. So he tells me, sits back in his chair, and he tells me, hey, Kathie, let me tell you something. 2 weeks from now, you're going to be worried about something else. And I use that advice all the time because it is so friggin' true. That was petty drama I was worried about. And guess what? 2 weeks later, it was something else. And always, always, always something else. You've got to go on that mental diet, let it go, realize it's going to be something else. Pendulums came into play in my self-talk. What is a pendulum? A pendulum is from reality transferring, and it's just a thought that everybody else is thinking. And a pendulum is only wants your energy. A pendulum is a sports team. A pendulum is a political party. A pendulum was the pandemic. A pendulum is a company. Here is the thing with pendulums. You've got to be aware of them and decide who's going to get your energy. I'll tell you one pendulum that gets my energy, and that is OcuSoft. The news does not get my energy. And if I do, I make sure I limit how much energy I give to that, because it will suck you dry. Pendulums were very active at this time in my life because it was for everybody. You could just, if you were aware and very sensitive like I am, you could even sense it in the traffic on the streets. It just was quiet. It was weird. I remember driving one night out in the country with Eddie because our friends live way out there, and we were driving home, and I'm like, the sky looks like 1985, because it did. There was no pollution. It was just different. You could sense it in the whole planet, the whole entire planet. And that, my dear, was a pendulum. And I'm very sensitive to that because I am aware of where these pendulums go. And I monitor my self-talk and become aware of these pendulums. One other thing I like to include in my self-talk is, how is my body language coming across? Your body language says a lot about you. And as a fitness trainer for 20 years now, I am very aware of body language because body language and posture go hand in hand. And I am a posture coach. That's really pretty much a posture and a heart coach. Those two things are what I focus on in fitness. So I'm aware of my body language and how it communicates to other people. I make sure I got a pep in my step. I make sure my ponytail is swinging. I make sure my shoulders are back and I exude confidence, even though I may feel like crap. You know why? It's like the same thing as a smile. When you smile, you send signals to your brain that tells you everything is A-OK. It totally changes your chemistry in your body. And so therefore, I know my body language does the same exact thing. Step number 4, habits, especially your thought habits, but habits in general. Number one thing I like to talk about is from the book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Be 1% better today than yesterday. I teach this across the board, especially in fitness, but I do this in my own life. I'm always striving to be 1% better today than yesterday. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to be yucky. You're going to have to be cleaning walls because COVID might have got on the wall. You got to have an attitude of 1% better today than yesterday. And I always strive to be 1% better. Routines are very helpful. I teach morning routines. I teach daily routines. I teach evening routines and stop the mind screw. I also teach them to myself on a regular basis. When you are going through struggles, it is so important to have those routines to fall back on because they pull you through. So my morning routine is probably the most powerful thing I do any day. any week, anytime. I come out of my morning routine knocked down, ready to go. Now, granted, I wasn't able to go to the gym, but I worked out at home. I started changing that in August of 2020. I started doing my workouts at home. I don't know what to do. I used to teach boot camps, so I was doing that. It wasn't my favorite, but I found a way to like it, and I incorporated my morning routine, which is a walking meditation, what I'm listening to, all that good stuff. I talk about that all the time. Not going into it here, but I pulled on my routines, which helped me tremendously. It helped me keep a great attitude, a positive mindset, and also helped me go the extra mile and helped me take my responsibility for what I was doing in my life, which in turn made me happy. Included in habits is discipline. Discipline is extremely important because you want to stick to those habits. Stick to them day in, day out, day in, day out. And a lot of times it'll take discipline to overcome whatever it is that's going on in your life. It's easy to just fall back and go, oh, I'm just going to sleep in today. I'm not going to do it. No, you've got to have discipline. And it just takes a little bit of pull from your core values and you got your discipline. That's what I'm saying. But don't worry, we identify your core values in step number 1 and stop the mind screw. And of course, in your habits is self-care. Take care of yourself, which leads me into step number 5, which part of that self-care is, of course, your morning routines, your evening routines, how you're caring for yourself. But let's go to step number 5 because that is revision and healing. And remember in step number 1, I said we're going to come back to those really bad negative thoughts that we had and we're going to revise them. We're also going to heal them. And how are we going to do that? I love, love, love the Pruning Shears of Revision by Neville Goddard. Link in description to a free PDF about that. But all the Pruning Shears of Revision is you prune out those thoughts that are not empowering you. You see them for what they are, and if they are hurting you, you heal them with the healing process, which I talk about, which is healing mind, body, and soul. You heal the mind by rationalizing and reasoning what's going on. That's all your mind wants. It wants to know what the hell is going on. So you document it, you journal it, you write it all down. I love Morning Pages by Julia Cameron. I talk about them all the time. They help you, especially when you're going through a really tough time. Heal the body, exercise, tremendous, lovely thing. Exercise and sleep. And also just make sure you're eating nutritious foods and taking care of your body. This is all my fitness stuff, which I include as a bonus. And I'm also going to be teaching a fitness course real quick in my program. And take care of your soul. Your soul is the reason you're here. You meditate. I do walking meditations. I do driving meditations. I'm constantly trying to keep my thought habits in control and in touch with my higher self. Because guess what? Your higher self has answers to every problem there is. And not only does it just have one answer, it's got infinite answers. Infinite answers. And when you close off to that, you're missing out on a big, huge, gigantic piece of the puzzle. And of course, this leads me to step number 6, which get in the zone, get in flow. How did I do that? I did that by following the Stop the Mind Screw process. But look at this, look at this. It takes persistence. It takes discipline. It takes consistency. Those 3 things are really important to stay in flow. You have to be persistent in this process. It's not just going to come just because you think about it. You've got to stay persistent. But here's what keeps me persistent is my faith. My faith, and also going back to step number 1, and what do I want? What do I want? I picture it from the end in mind. So what I really wanted was I wanted to be back in the gym. But I had to make the best of what I had going on at the time. They did not owe me anything. And thank God I still had a job. And let me tell you how this got me into flow. So let's go back to step number 1. What do we want? That is where you come back to when you're talking about flow. So exactly what I wanted, I wrote it down, I journaled it. But I also included my core values in there, which I do when I teach Stop the Mind Screw. And my core values in this process were going the extra mile, taking responsibility, having a positive mindset. Those three things got me through it because here's what happened. I was asked to take errands, to do driving. We were very thorough in our cleaning. So I was cleaning things like walls and stairs. And I did stairs every day because the reason why was I was like, I'm doing the stairs, doing my workout at the same time. But I also did something really cool. Put my headphones on and listen to my powerful podcast. That is one of my things that motivates me. That's basically one of my meditations is listening to my podcast. I have several different podcasts I listen to, and I may put a link in the description below to some of them, and you'll see what I mean because they transform my life in magic fashion while I was doing something I thought I didn't like. This gave me, the whole process gave me an empowered presence and a wonderful imagination. Those two things will definitely have you in flow. And guess what happens in the very end? You enjoy the journey. The journey and the destination are the same thing. Spoiler alert. And that, my friends, is how you get over the entitlement of they owe me. I didn't sign up for this by using Stop the Mind Screw. That's my video for today. I hope you liked it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody who could benefit from this because it helps in the algorithm. Tells YouTube this video is good. Tells Instagram this video is good. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste. Because of my core values, my positive mindset, taking responsibility, and what is that third one? I can't remember. Watch, it'll come to me. No, it won't.